Hello and welcome. If you're a founder building an AI right now, you know that 2025 is shaping up to be an absolutely pivotal year. I mean, the landscape is just moving at an incredible pace. So we've put this guide together to help you cut through all the noise, spot the real opportunities, and build something that's actually going to last. All right, let's dive right in. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. How on earth can AI be underhyped? It's everywhere. But according to Elad Gil, and honestly, many of the experts we're going to hear from, we are just at the very, very beginning of this massive transformative wave. The hype we're saying today, it's just the opening act for what's really coming. And that really brings us to the core question of this whole thing. When the technology is basically available to everyone, and new tools are dropping daily, what separates a cool feature that's here today and gone tomorrow from a truly foundational company? That's what we are here to figure out. So to get you those answers, we went straight to the source. We've synthesized the key perspectives from this brain trust of more than 20 leaders who are right there on the front lines, the people actually building, funding, and researching the future of AI. This is their playbook. First up, let's talk about the tech itself, because before we can even get into strategy, we've got to understand the new tools that are fundamentally changing what's even possible for AI products. A huge shift that's happening right now is with multimodal AI. AI that understands and communicates using a mix of text, voice, and even vision. The prediction here is that this is going to completely change our user interfaces. I mean, imagine not typing into a search bar, but just asking your smart glasses a question about the building you're looking at. We're talking about moving away from being glued to our screens and toward these much more natural, conversational ways of interacting with tech. Okay, so what's really fascinating here is the tension it shows around AI agents. On the one hand, you have this incredible vision from Harrison Chase of ambient agents just always working for us in the background. But then, on the other hand, Jennifer Lee brings in a dose of reality, pointing out that, hey, the underlying infrastructure still needs some major upgrades before that vision can really truly be realized. You are going to hear this term a lot, RAG. So, in simple terms, it's a way to make LLMs smarter and way more reliable. Instead of just relying on its old training data, the model can actually go out and pull real-time specific info from an external source, like, say, your company's internal documents, to give a much more accurate and grounded answer. It's like giving it an open book test. And this quote just brilliantly shows where this tech is all headed. Dewey Keela predicts that this whole debate about whether to use RAG or just stuff a model with a huge amount of context, well, that's just going to disappear. The models themselves are going to get smart enough to choose the right tool for the job, optimizing for both accuracy and cost. So that brings us to the core strategic challenge. With all this powerful tech just sitting there for the taking, how do you build a real defensible business, a moat, that your competitors can't just easily cross? The message from every single expert was completely unanimous on this point. Simply putting a nice UI on top of a major language model is not a sustainable business. It's a feature, not a company, and it will get commoditized. So the key here is you have to go deeper. So how do you build that moat? Well, the experts pointed to a few key strategies. David Friedberg talks about creating a data flywheel, where your product actually generates unique information that just makes your models smarter and smarter over time. Dylan Fox points to solving those messy last-mile problems, the really specific nagging integration issues that are unique to your customers. And Crystal Huang highlights how important it is to get deeply embedded in a user's workflow, creating a stickiness that makes your product totally indispensable. This brings us to a really, really important debate. On one side, you've got Dylan Fox's super pragmatic view. He's basically arguing that getting AI to work reliably inside big companies is hard. There are just countless small but critical last-mile issues, like recognizing industry-specific jargon or plugging into ancient systems that really slow down adoption. But here is the powerful counter-argument from Google's Amin Vahdat. The cost and the power of the underlying tech are improving at an exponential rate. So if your big idea seems way too expensive to run today, just wait. Betting on computation getting dramatically cheaper is one of the safest bets you can possibly make in tech right now. All right, now for the tactical stuff. We've talked tech, we've talked high-level strategy, but what should you actually do, day in and day out? This is the founder's playbook, with actionable advice straight from the trenches. If there's one rule that came up again and again and again, it's this. Speed is absolutely non-negotiable. The market is right now. The consensus is to find something people might care about, build the most minimal version you can, Get it into their hands and see if it sticks. Do not wait for perfection. This is such a crucial point on business models. The old SaaS playbook of just charging per user per month, it doesn't always fit the value that AI provides. A Porvugger Wall is advising startups to align pricing with the actual value you're delivering. If your AI saves a customer $1 million, your pricing should probably capture a piece of that, right? Okay, here's a really sharp, kind of counterintuitive take from Chamath Palihapitiya. He argues that startups shouldn't try to build a whole point product that a big incumbent could just easily copy. Instead, you should focus on building these high-value point features that can be integrated into bigger platforms. It's about making yourself a partner rather than a direct competitor. Okay, here's a rapid-fire checklist of tactical must-dos for you. First, make sure you have AI fluency across your entire team, not just your engineers. Second, prioritize how you're going to evaluate success from day one. Know your metrics before you even start building. Third, focus on product algo fit. That means building a product that perfectly matches what the algorithm is good at today, not what you hope it can do someday. Fourth, build with agnostic infrastructure. That just means don't lock yourself into one AI provider. Make it easy to swap in better or cheaper models as they come out. And finally, be really cautious about building in the middle layer of the AI stack, the tools for other developers, because you risk getting squeezed by the big platform players. Okay, finally, let's zoom out. How do you not only succeed today, but how do you future-proof your strategy for all the inevitable twists and turns of this market? Let's look at the key trends you've got to keep on your radar. This is such a critical insight for managing your own expectations. Crystal Hong points out that because the tools to build AI apps are so accessible now, we're going to see these constant cycles of micro booms and busts. A product can get massive traction one week and just be totally obsolete the next. The long-term trend is definitely up, but the short-term ride is going to be volatile. So where should you be looking for the biggest waves of disruption? David Friedberg identifies 4 key areas that are on the verge of some massive change. First, media, with on-the-fly personalized content. Second, the entire sauce industry, which could just be upended as AI lets companies build their own custom tools instead of buying software. Third, biology, which is being revolutionized by models that can literally design new drugs and crops. And finally, robotics, which is really hitting a tipping point thanks to advanced machine vision. So if we just distill all of these insights down to one core message, it's this. The technology is dazzling, for sure, but it is just a tool. Lasting success isn't going to come from chasing the latest model or building the coolest demo. It's going to come from deeply understanding a real-world problem and then using AI to build a defensible, value-creating solution. So we've covered the tech, the strategy, and the tactics from the very people who are shaping this revolution. They've laid out the entire playbook. The only question left is the one that matters most for you. Now, what will you build?